And for that, we bring in, as always, our good friend and esteemed producer of the Message Board Genius podcast, Casey Cregan, who I had an up close and in person encounter with this week. Casey,
Wait, what
what's
happened?
going on? It's good to see you again.
It's great to see you, Rob. I just have all of a sudden looking at Craig, it's like I want to sing "I see a little silhouette of a man, Scaramouche." He's all in black, like man in black over there. What the hell's going on with that guy?
He's just sitting in the dark.
All we see is the white of his eyes.
He's dancing in the dark. How many song references can we fit in?
That can't sing them all.
Wait, can we time out here? Did you guys hang out and not invite me?
Yes.
Yeah, we did.
No, nice.
You were in the group chat.
I wasn't in the group chat.
In fact, I wasn't invited either.
While you guys
I just sent a picture to the group chat saying that I was doing some research for this show because everyone knows, including Rob's dad, who made sure I knew that he knew who I was,
I know you.
and who I rooted for. But I was doing a little research for the SEC Sunday night, and the young Robert said, "I'm here too." Except I was way up in the nosebleeds,
right? And
he was at the bougie seats. So
think he's up, baby.
We did get a chance to hang out.
I got an upgrade. I got an upgrade for the second half. So yeah, it was good times.
Thanks for the invite, boys. Really appreciate
You're welcome.
Listen, Craig, anytime that you're down here, you're more than welcome to come to a South Carolina sporting event and potentially see me there.
But listen, I want to go
now. You're in negative degrees up in Michigan, so all right. Let's get into it here because we have some boards that we need to talk about. But I'm more excited about the conversations coming on the back end of these boards with Casey. So I don't often just say let's cut through them really quickly. To start off with, though, we have a smorgasbord of things here. I'm going to zoom in, Casey. Don't worry. But just to start off, MBG says this Ole Miss fan asked AI why Lane Kiffin wants to hurt them so bad. And Casey, if you will take it away as we dive into these broken down reasons.
Sure. Steve S. says, my question to AI, if a narcissist breaks up with a woman, is there some psychological reason he'd then want to hurt her? After all, she didn't leave him. He left her. Here's the AI answer. 1, breakups still feel like a threat to his ego. Even if he ends it, the breakup means loss of attention, admiration, or emotional supply, loss of control over how he's seen, a reminder that the relationship didn't turn into the perfect mirror of himself. For someone with narcissistic tendencies.
I don't know. It's just cut off.
All right, number 2. If I don't matter to you anymore, that's unbearable. What really hurts isn't losing you. It's the idea that you might move on. You might be okay without him. You might see him clearly without the illusion. That triggers shame, and narcissistic shame is often flipped into anger or cruelty because those feelings are easier to tolerate than vulnerability. And number 3, hurting you restores a sense of power. Causing pain can serve a purpose. Reasserts dominance. Quote, I still affect you, confirms importance, you're still reacting to me, and rewrites the story so he feels superior instead of exposed.
Good Lord.
Oh, number 4.
It keeps going. Don't worry.
All right, we're almost done. Punishment for failing the role. Some narcissistic people unconsciously view partners as roles, admire me, validate me, make me feel special. When the role ends, even by his choice, there can be resentment. You didn't give me what I deserved. The resentment can turn into punishment. Number 5, preemptive strike against accountability. If he hurts you first, you're less likely to challenge him. You're less likely to expose his behavior, less likely to rewrite the breakup narrative in a way that threatens his self-image. That's a lot of word salad to say we're coping.
Yeah, that is exactly it.
2 and 3, I feel like nailed it.
I forget what 2 and 3 were.
Yeah, I've long since lost 2 and 3.
An hour ago.
We're on 5. 5. How are we on 5? You know what that is very clearly you asked ChatGPT a question and it gave you a little more information than you were prepared to receive. I think.
I'm a Gemini guy. By the way, Gemini wants to sponsor.
We know. You like to cut your own path, Craig. So we're not surprised that you're a Gemini guy.
I'm a Taurus. If we're talking about my astrological sign,
that's not what we were talking about. We could be talking about AI.
Well, you can put into AI like short answers for message board. You know, you don't have to do like just
that was
leave
past
it
this
blanket.
guy's. That was past this guy's.
Please write the agenda for
thought
SEC
process.
Sunday night.
Yeah.
Wait, no, I would never do that ever.
I don't do that actually, but
no, you just take my ideas.
Ideas and thoughts are a part of a think tank, and then we type out the agenda. No, you're right, Casey. This is coping on the part of Ole Miss, and at some point, I think we have to recognize that everybody's doing this kind of stuff. The crazy thing to me, and we're going to talk about this in just a minute. Maybe I should have flipped it and done this Texags board first, and then used this as a segue. But it's so funny to me that we have vilified Lane in all of this process, and in many cases, rightfully so. But now he's moved from Ole Miss to LSU, and we still have Ole Miss kind of playing the villain. So what's going on? It wasn't Lane all along? Are you telling me that this happens from other places and other coaches are breaking rules and doing shady things? Never. That could not be the case.
Lane is the bad person.
Only Lane Kiffin. Only Lane Kiffin is doing these things. Casey,
yes,
come on
it's
now.
100%. It's like that Spider-Man where they're just pointing at each other. Yeah.
All right. Let's
Texags.
Speaking of crazy.
Hey, Billy.
Our friend Billy. Congrats to Indiana, but Texas A&M should have won it all, says Message Board Genius. Says MBG. Our friend AG Derp says that should have been Texas A&M winning it all. Seriously, the seriously is what got me.
Because it's almost as good as confirmed, isn't it?
Yeah, because it confirmed is my favorite, but the seriously got me because if only we had a chance of winning it on the field.
Well, you know what? I wasn't convinced that Texas
windy.
A&M should have won the national championship until he said seriously, and then I completely flipped my opinion. I feel totally different after reading that last word.
Yeah.
I feel so good about Marcelo Reed coming back. Like I feel like 8-4 is just a mere distant memory.
It's mere an interception away.
All right.
It was, to be fair, it was windy that day.
I just don't.
Just for him.
All right. Well, I think clearly here's our moment to tip our caps to Indiana. Phenomenal season, dominant year. We have to give credit where credit is due. This is not a product of their older, which they were, but that's not the reason. It's not a product of they spent more money, which they did spend money because they have resources, but that's not the reason. It's not a product of any individual one of these things that we can pick out. It is a product of all of the right ingredients coming together and, by and large, phenomenal execution with a great game plan consistently week after week. That's it. We don't have to cook up a reason for why they won the national championship. They executed better on the field than everybody else, period. That's exactly what happened. They had enough talent and they had superior execution. That equals the national championship.
Coaching.
Yeah, that's a big reason too. They had phenomenal coaching. I'm going to give Kurt Cignetti all the props that I can, but I firmly believe also that at the end of the day, the players have to go out there and make the plays. And you can have the greatest coaching staff of all time and an inaccurate passer, and everything falls apart. Accuracy is the number one trait for a quarterback that makes these things go. No matter what the system is, no matter what the offense is, if you can be pinpoint accurate, then you can move the football. And they were able.
You don't want to throw it short on the last play of the game.
You do not. You don't want to make a bad read on the
last play of the game
either. No,
that doesn't work.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
And I didn't think Mendoza was that great. He probably played his worst game of the playoff, in my opinion.
Correct.
At the national, and maybe that's Miami's defense. Maybe the way that they were hit him. Maybe, but he wasn't as accurate. Even some of his back shoulder throws that are absolute, like he could trademark those throws. He was a little off on them. Again, I'm nitpicking here. They were still fine. That fourth down call, as we talked about on our show, is going to be seen over and over and over again, where he quarterback draw, scores a touchdown, big boy run. But yeah, I thought he was just going to pick apart that kind of beat up Miami secondary, and he didn't initially.
No, No, but it made the plays though. I think that was the key though, right? And I think that was Mendoza. He made the plays when they mattered most.
100%.
I mean, that's the 4th and 5, the dive. I saw the next day someone put it on the Sports Illustrated cover because again, Casey, you and I growing up, we were used to reading SI and print. Rob has only been digital, but to me, that was.
I had a subscription.
I'm sure you did. I'm sure it was digital. I'm sure it was great. But to me, again, I can't wait to visit Bloomington one day and actually see the Mendoza dive, in statue form because I think it's absolutely fantastic. Kudos to them. My boy Carson. Look, we had Uncle Tony on here a little bit ago. I'm going to have a what do we make of Carson Beck's career? I pulled up his stats. 37-6 as a starter, not bad. 4 of his 6 losses ended in a Carson Beck interception. Not great. Looking at the total yards he threw for, 103 against A&M, 138 against Ohio State, 268. His best game was against Ole Miss, 268, 2 TDs, 1 rushing. Threw 232 against Indiana. I think Tony had a lot to do with it, though. I don't think it was all Mr. Carson, though. Underwhelming for Carson Beck.
Well, and at this point in his career, I think he was doing what he was asked to do in the system, and they were heavily relying on the speed of the defense, as has been well documented on this show over the course of the playoffs, and playing a game that was going to work best for them. I will make this note, even though it's the SEC, and I want to turn the page here in just a second. Miami's not going anywhere. I don't think they're going anywhere. In fact, we just talked about this Mensa case and how it affects the SEC and college football at large. But specific, if we're going to drill into it, if he wins the case and goes to Miami, then they have their quarterback. If not, they've got to figure that out. Outside of that, they're putting together a stable of weapons. They're almost in the money that they're spending. And Tony just said, allegedly reported from Duke insiders that they said $10 million is what they're willing to pay to get Mensa out of there and get him to South Beach. The money that they're throwing around is reload, not rebuild type of money. They're going to lose these pass rushers. They're going to lose Carson Beck. They're going to lose some key pieces, but they're bringing back Malachi Toney. They added some other receivers from around the SEC that are going to be playmakers for them and bring a lot of speed. And I don't think that we're going to see them go anywhere. Okay. Speaking of,
did you see who Miami also signed though? This also relates to the SEC. Damon Wilson, who's being sued by Georgia.
Absolutely.
Who was at Missouri. So again, trying to pick that up. But again, I think
they grabbed a couple Missouri kids.
Hours and legal team is very excited to take on all of these interesting legal cases.
And who cares if it all breaks loose? You know what I mean? And that's the gamble that they're taking, is that if we're just going to rattle the cage until all the chains break and fall on the floor and it's a complete free-for-all, then that's what they're going to do, and then go try to win football games. Okay, it's 8:43 on SEC Sunday night. The Seahawks lead the Rams 24-20 with 8 minutes and 10 seconds left in the third. Casey, let's go to Clemson, South Carolina, as we see the battle between Dabo Swinney and Pete Golding has ignited this week. If there was anybody that you shouldn't tamper with, let's just call it what it is, it was probably Dabo Swinney. I think that he sits in a position where if he has to pull a Saban and hang it up because he doesn't like the state of college football, he's just about willing to do it. And so he's doesn't care. Other coaches care about calling people out and staying in good standing, and I don't want to get blackballed by this person or this organization or this thing. I don't think Dabo cares. Your take as a Clemson guy and somebody who's tied in well with the school and in the know, we've got a prominent SEC program now. Can we say that about Ole Miss? Are they prominent?
Yeah.
A prominent SEC program who was just in the semifinals for the college football national championship versus a 2-time national champion AC mainstay, ACC power in Dabo Swinney and Clemson. And we see a common theme in college football now being put on full display and kind of the guts being spilled out of what this process looks like. Your thoughts and analysis, Casey?
Yeah, so I'm going to maybe surprise you both and say that this wasn't about Ole Miss. I think Ole Miss is the scapegoat, and their fans are responding as such of the broken system, right? And I think the tampering, Dabo said it perfectly the other day with the tampering 101, 201, and 301, how he was saying to a next level. Yeah. The thing that I think the tampering is going to happen, right? That's 101. That's what Ole Miss team was talking about with LSU coaches, with that they're talking on the field during their playoff run, saying, hey, you know, come to, that's 101. That's just coaches or assistant coaches talking to players, kind of planting that seed. I forget what he said about 201, but the 301 is where the kid's literally enrolled and he's sitting in class and he's still getting text messages from the head coach. And then, of course, the agent doesn't know about it, right? The agent plays dumb.
No clue.
So I think it's, I truly believe it's less about Ole Miss than the whole system. And I think, Rob, you're spot on. I would not be surprised if Dabo hangs it up sooner rather than later. I think he's going to play this season out. But I would not be surprised, even as a Clemson guy, if he hangs it up like Saban. And heck, maybe he was right about a commissioner or needing some sort of governance, and maybe he is that guy. People already don't like him. He's very polarizing, so he could probably slide right into a commissioner job. Look at, you know, every other league that's out, the professional league that's out there. He's going to do what he believes is correct, whether or not people think it's correct or right. He's going to do it. I think you were exactly right also about who not to tamper with, only because and I hope other coaches, and I saw Brett Bielema come out today and say, have a little comment. He played Switzerland a little bit, but he actually backed Dabo as well. I wish I had that quote pulled up, but I didn't. Again, it's not even about the Ferrelli kid, God bless him. I think Dabo was pissed too because he was told by the kid multiple times that he was fine, everything was fine, and then all of a sudden he catches wind that the kid's in the compliance office trying to get in the portal again after he was told by 12 different people. The thing I really liked too was that he's got receipts. Again, I don't know if anything can come out of this. I don't think it will really. And unlike Mensa, Clemson doesn't want the kid back. Like, it's not like, oh no, he needs to come back. Like, he's gone. God bless him. Good luck. Godspeed. But I think it's more about the system going forward, whereas Ole Miss fans took it as like, oh, Dabo's the worst. He's picking on us. Like, no, that's not exactly the case. It just happens to be you. It could have been anybody. It could have been Drink. It could have been Jed Fish for all we, it could have been anybody. It just happened to be Pete Golding. And the whole clutching the pearls a week after they're saying that Lane's taking all their guys was actually pretty funny to see too, the hypocrisy. But this is my last statement because I'm kind of all over the place because my thoughts are everywhere. But when I heard that Dabo was going to have a press conference that was being broadcast on Clemson Plus, which is for all the IPTE members, all the people that give money to the NIL, it is a paid subscription, which apparently for $5, you too can be a member like me. But I was cringing because I said to myself, what is he going to say tomorrow that everybody in the nation is going to hate? Instead, what I saw was everybody that hates him. Dan Wolken. I wouldn't say that David Hale hates him, but David Hale and him have battled over the years from ACC Network. David Hale, everyone outside of Ari Wasserman nationally were like, yeah, Dabo's right here. He kind of peeled back the onion a little bit, right? Everyone knew it was happening, but now we were putting it front and center for everybody to see. I don't know what's going to happen. There needs to be some sort of governance because, quite honestly, the penalty for this right now is, finger pointing. That's it. There is no penalty, right? What the penalty should be, I'm not sure. It certainly shouldn't be death penalty or anything like that. But I think the point that Dabo was trying, and this is me trying to read this man's mind, he's as scattered as I am when he's talking forever, is like, this has to stop. There has to be a governance of some sort. If they're going to do the tampering 101, cool, that's fine. Let's stop it at a point. And right now, there is absolutely no governance to stop a thing.
And I think that's like the interesting part. I'll go two ways about it. We talked last week about the kid from Hope Hope College, D3 college here up in Michigan on the west side of the state. He entered the transfer portal and he's going to Wisconsin. It was interesting this week. He was getting interviewed by Hope Athletics. He was at the basketball game this week, and they said, well, hey, how did you, it's fantastic you're going to Wisconsin. It's really great, but how did you get in the portal? And the kid goes, oh, well, I've got buddies who play at Western Michigan, which is not far away from Hope University. And the coaches told the players, hey, tell your buddy to hop in the portal so we can talk to him. So it's that tampering 101 system. And it's like, the best part about it is you have like a Hope analyst who goes, oh, that's really interesting. That's great. I'm so excited about you going to Wisconsin. Just totally like blows over like, hey, tampering 101 is good. It's to that 301 level that I think becomes the challenge. And it's like, what does that governance look like? We're like this confederacy. We've got the SEC that kind of has their internal rules. Tony talked about it. Greg Sankey makes sure that nobody's fighting amongst themselves. But then we have the ACC under Jim Phillips who kind of does whatever the hell they want. And then Tony Petitti and the Big Ten do something. And it's just, I think this is the problematic nature of college football versus the NFL. Roger Goodell can put his hand out, put his fist down, and he can say, thou shalt not, and he can have some rules. Whereas in college football, it depends on who your commissioner is and who exactly is doing the rules. Is it Lane Kiffin tampering or is it Pete Golding tampering? We all know Lane Kiffin's tampering. Hell, you saw it with Sam Levitt was next to him at the damn LSU basketball game, and all of a sudden the Washington quarterback's in the portal. What's happening here? So it's like, I wish I knew to say, like, I feel like, oh yeah, tampering 201, tampering 301, we can stop that. But I think it's kind of like it's just the world we live in now. And but again, it's not me ripping on Dabo or thinking that Dabo is wrong.
I think that's a weak argument, and I think that's the problem. And I know the piece that Dabo was getting ripped on. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Craig, but I think the thing that Dabo was getting ripped on is everyone's doing it. He just can't. He just can't abide by the new rules, which is completely crap. He hasn't needed to. He should have, right? Like in his perfect world, of course, you want to get somebody better than what you have, but he wasn't going to do that. That's his morals. God bless him. Whatever he wants to do. Agree with him, don't agree with him. I didn't agree with him a lot of times too on getting better at certain spots. But I think that argument of everybody's doing it is the problem. I do. I think that is the huge problem. I think that's a conversation ender. Right.
The governance issue, though, is that there's no equality in to your point, Craig, from conference to conference, and then from level to level. Because once you get out of P4, you're still Division I, right? And then like, are we going to make a rule that applies to every power conference and the G5s? And then what happens below that? Does it trickle down? You know what I mean? Like there's way
we're seeing it in high school. In this
state,
Rob,
there's way too many puzzle pieces that are different sizes and levels to put one governing body together, and that's been the struggle ever since the transfer portal and NIL became a thing, and it unleashed all of this chaos because they came into the world at the same time, and they were like gas to a flame on each other, shifting the college football landscape. And in the background, we literally had shifting happening because of conference realignment. Yeah, so you have so many moving pieces and so many levels. There has not been an opportunity for anybody to say, let's try to get our arms around this and put one body or one person who can rule like Roger Goodell and put their fist down, because we've got 45 kingdoms. And it's the Game of Thrones out here trying to figure out who's going to stand on the top of it. And as it stands right now, nobody has the upper hand to get far enough up to sit on the Iron Throne.
But here's the Iron Throne problem. And Casey, I'm going to respond to you first. First, I'm holding 2 points. Everybody's doing it, and I also think it's stupid. So I'm definitely not giving that scapegoat. But I think here's the challenge. We talk about having a governing body. Last year, the College Sports Commission came out and said, hey, we're going to get NIL in here, and we're going to take care of this. Again, outside of the NCAA, it's a governing body. It's supposed to review everything. And Tony and I, in our writer's chat in Last Word, he's like, this is what's going to happen. And I said, And where's the enforcement piece of it? And this is the same argument I'm going to make about whether we're looking at tampering 101, 201, or 301. We could have the Tampering Sports Commission. Who is actually going to give these people teeth to make that enforcement? Because just like the College Sports Commission said, hey, we're going to do all of this, and then all of a sudden, Texas Tech and all the boosters say, whoa, 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 whoa. That's not going to allow us to get and be who we want. We're not signing that. And to me, this becomes the issue. It is not a cop-out, but shows the chaos and the problematic nature from which we're at with college football right now.
I also think the thing that, again, I'm going to say it again, my last point, but I think the thing that Dabo harped on too in his second piece after Athletic Director Graham Neff talked was about the calendar. And Rob has been talking about the calendar since I've been on the show. And he laid it out an idea, not what it should be, but what he thinks could work in order to limit, not get rid of. And he said that, not get rid of, but it might get rid of that 301, right? And another piece that I hate, and I'm that old man yelling at clouds thing, is the fact that I wish I pulled the numbers again, but I'm lazy. 9,000 kids enter the portal, and I'm not off by that much. Only 3,300 are going to get spots.
Yep.
I know we're now athlete student, but at some point that's got to change too, where they have like the calendar. Kids are missing, like Tony was saying before on this show. The kids are Mensa's missed 4 weeks by the time that this thing will be over, right? 5 weeks.
You won't even take a midterm, right?
There's 16 weeks in a semester,
right?
Like it's not about. I know it's Carson Beck said it, right? I haven't worried about class in 2 years. I get it. Again, old man yelling at clouds, but at some point that calendar's got to jive with the school too, man. That just. Or else professionalize the whole damn thing.
Approximately 6,700 Division I players entered the portal, and approximately 1,200 on FBS scholarship are still in as of right now, according to a quick search there.